We're starting Be'ez Hashem Siman Mem Tes Vayoel Moshe, and we're starting a new subject now. Subject of Bias HaMashiach and Eliyahu. Before we were talking about more like what is the Siman of Mashiach, how we're going to prove that he's Mashiach, and what's going to happen before the Geula. There's going to be Tshuva. Now he's talking about the idea that you can't believe someone is the Goyal until you know that Eliyahu came before. So take a look. B'hinei ha'Maharal mi Prague Zal b'Haggadah Shaloi. The Maharal in his Haggadah, Kasev b'tam Pesichas Hadeles Koydem Shvoich Chamascha. He explains the reason why we open the door for Eliyahu Navi, right? Well, everybody says that, but it's not the fetish that you open it for Eliyahu Navi. It's just a minhag Yisrael that we open the door before Shvoich Chamascha. So why do we do that? So v'dacha kol ha'taimim shapir shabazeh. He pushes away all the other reasons. He rejects all the other reasons that people have suggested for opening the door. El harich b'taima dahach minhaga. He goes on at length to explain this minhag. The kivin shabala oyer az rachamim. Since we're saying the word Shvoich HaMascha, we're saying pour out your anger upon the nations that didn't call on your name. In other words, bring the Geula, punish them for all the bad things they did, right? So we're being Mo'oyer Rachamim V'Ratzim L'Geula Shleima. At that point in time, we have to show our kids, we have to publicize this Messiah that we have. So again, this is the subject of what criteria we have and what Messiah we have about identifying Mashiach, right? We identify Mashiach by Tshuva. Here he's saying a different way to identify him. Yeah. But from the last Navi, from Malachi, right? Before the Redeemer comes, before Mashiach comes, Yakdim Eliyahu Navi Levaster Agula. Eliyahu will come first. As it's written in the Psukim, you know, the last pasuk at the end of Malachi, it says, yes, so, that's the Siman, that's the way to tell that Mashiach is the real Mashiach. That's a real important thing to know about Bias HaMashiach. That we wait for him. It prevents us from falling into the net of any false Mashiach. Because where's Eliyahu Navi? Of course, the false Mashiach could also say, yeah, my friend over here, Nassan Navi from Gaza, he's the false, he's the Eliyahu Navi. Anyway, but it helps. That's why there's a minhag here to open the door for Eliyahu. That's why we pour for him a special kais. Kais Yeshua shel ha'geula. It's a kais Yeshua. Hakol kedei l'farsim b'fnei b'nei beisai. All to show our children l'hoidiyam she'ha'geula tali b'bias Eliyahu. To make this famous, everybody knows that the Geula is not going to happen until first Eliyahu Navi comes. Eliyahu Navi mikodim levaster Geula. Uyin sham sheherich bazeh. Now this is kind of I'm surprised that he had to bring this Maharal, which we'll see in a minute whether it's really the Maharal. I'm surprised.
I don't see why it shouldn't be.
Well, wait 1 second. I'm surprised that he had to bring it from here because this is a pretty well-known thing,
Not too well-known.
I think everybody knows that we're opening the door for Eliyahu Navi. Every kid knows that why we're opening the door.
But going further, why Eliyahu? Explaining here, why we open Eliyahu?
All right, could be.
I'll tell you more. It makes sense because the Geula will be above death, and Eliyahu rose above death. The Geula, obviously, unlike the previous Geulas, this Geula will be above Misa. So you have to root into somebody who rose above it, and that's Eliyahu. Well, it's true. As the Maharal says elsewhere, elsewhere that the reason Eliyahu will come to tell us of the Geula first is because we need the shore of the Geula to be above Misa.
Why is the Geula above Misa?
Because what do you mean? There will be Tchias HaMesa by Mashiach comes.
Afterwards it'll be Tchias HaMesa.
Yeah, of course. So the shore is for Eliyahu, therefore.
Alright, and Yuyin Sham Sheherich Bazeh V'Siyim Shehu Tam Menachem V'Ubar. That's a real good reason. Masuk Midvash. It's sweeter than honey. The minhag Pesichas Hadeles, to explain the minhag of opening the door. Mavur Bazeh Daito Zal Shasimin Abar Leda Im Hi Geula. The real siman to know whether this is the true Geula or not. Hu Masha Amar Akasi V'Nei Anochi Sholeach Lachem Eis Eliyahu. Right? Okay, that's how we're going to know if it's the true geula, if we see Eliyahu coming beforehand. Rambam Zal, the only thing is the Rambam argues with it. That's the only thing that he needed. He needed a makor because he's going to say the Rambam argues. Rambam Zal ain't daitoi kain. Doesn't hold like this. Shahari Kosta b'soifil malachim perkid base. He says, he mentions it, but he says it's a machlokes. He says shehu plukta bein hachachamim sheyesh oimrim shekoyim milchemes gog u'magog shehu b'tchilas yimay HaMashiach yavo Eliyahu. Some chachamim hold that Eliyahu will come after Bias HaMashiach, but at the beginning of the war of Gog and Magog. But some will say no, that Mashiach will come before Eliyahu will come before Bias HaMashiach. Okay? And the Rambam says that there's no way to decide who's right. Okay? We see from this Rambam, he plukta, that it's a machlokes, it's a disagreement. So, we don't know for sure if Eliyahu is coming before or after. We can't use this as identifying criteria to know whether Mashiach is the real Mashiach or not. Okay? So in the coming Siman, we're going to have to explain what this machlokes is based on. And really, as I said, if it's not the Maharal, I'm sure other people also say it. It's a Beferish Gemara in Eruvin, Daf Mem Gimel, that says that if a guy says, Hareini Nazir b'yom sheben David ba, he says, I'm going to be a Nazir on the day that Mashiach comes. He's allowed to drink wine on Shabbos. Why?
Because Mashiach will come then.
He knows the Kivin de Amar Kra. Since I know that the pasuk says Eliyahu is going to come before Bias HaMashiach, if Eliyahu didn't come the day before, right? He knows that Eliyahu didn't come the day before. So Mashiach. Now, maybe Eliyahu came and he didn't know about it. The answer is because Friday Eliyahu won't come. The Gemara says over there because he's not preparing for Shabbos, and there's Eliyahu is not going to be matriachas then. So if we know on Shabbos that Eliyahu didn't come on Friday because he can't come on Friday, and he came on Thursday, we don't have to worry about that because I guess that's too far. People would have found out already. So he didn't come on Thursday, he didn't come on Friday. So good, you can drink wine because you know that you're not a Nazir today because Mashiach's not coming today. Kitzer, so it's a very Gemara that Eliyahu has to come before Bias HaMashiach. So you don't need the Maharal to say it. He's just making it more strong with this Maharal. But the Shiur is, has the Rambam disagree with this Gemara?